I'm back. I wanted to apologize first off for my absence. So sorry, it was unexpected. I got probably the worst cold in the summer I have ever had, and literally was laid out in front of the air conditioner, wrapped in a million blankets for about 4 or 5 days. And then it's taken about another week or so just to kind of get back on my feet and get into things. But I'm so happy to be back, and I have a big old story to tell y'all today. So let's talk about things that are not easy in life. Well, there's a lot of things that are not easy in life, but what happens about when your life is disrupted outside of your control? And that's where we're going to start with today. Transitioning in life is not easy, especially for those who are in situations, like I said, beyond their control. I have my very close friend has been really going through it. Some of these things that life has thrown at her recently are just the most unfair that can happen to someone. And we're going to get all into that story today about adult advocates, homelessness, and agencies that are out there that are supposed to help you. So if any of you can relate, please stick around. Also, I am not a legal professional. I am not an adult services advocate. So if any of you out there are in the legal field or in the social services realm and you can offer any advice, I'd please love you to stick around and give us any advice you can on this. So, the system. The system that's designed to help people. You know, crisis happens, you try and depend on those systems that are out there to help you out, not wear you down and push you to your extreme exhausted limits. Administrative hurdles, oh my gosh, they're everywhere. Waiting and waiting and waiting. And then there's so many confusing requirements and things that little hurdles you have to know about, and specific little things you need to know to navigate through the system. I don't really understand how anybody can do this, and it amazes me that this is the best that they can do. Okay, so let me start with her story. My friend, whom is disabled and is in her 50s, has recently found herself a victim of illegal eviction, done by the people who should be the most supportive to her own family. Sorry, they are re-plumbing next door, so you might hear a lot of banging on the construction guys. Sorry about that. Out of my control. Hopefully we can get through this without it being too distracting. Anyway, so yes, my friend was thrown out illegally by her family. She has lived in the same place ever since we met. I was 10 years old and it was her birthday, and I had recently moved to this small farming town just south of where I live now. Her mom ran into my mom, at one of the local stores, and, oh, you have a daughter? I have a daughter. My daughter's having a birthday. You need to bring your daughter over on Saturday to celebrate my daughter's birthday. So, of course, my mom was all excited that I would have a new friend in our new little town and everything. So that Saturday, she took me to her birthday party, and we were able to meet her and, some of the other neighborhood girls. So something to know too about our neighborhood area, it's not just like your normal little cul-de-sac where you just go across the street or down the street. Our neighborhood was vast. So as far as distance, the closest neighbors all the way across the vineyard that way, or a quarter mile down the road this way. It wasn't like you were right next door. So my mom was real excited. I was really excited. And this was something outside of school, so it was great. Ended up meeting her, and you guys, we've been friends ever since. 42, 43 years now. So naturally, when she called me in need of help, I dropped what I was doing. I got myself up out of bed, even though I still wasn't feeling 100%, and I started to help her out. When I say She's going through a process. Let me tell you, you need a degree for this process. It's just amazing what we're going through right now. So let me give you a whole rundown on the story. So my friend, after 50 something years of living in her home, was illegally evicted by her family. They, son's girlfriend, so it was her father, her son, and the son's girlfriend. And the son's girlfriend decided that she didn't need to be there anymore and that she needed to move out, and accused her of stealing from her own family. Okay, mind you, like I said, she's lived in this is her family home. She's lived there her entire life with her parents. Her mother has recently passed away, but she's still living with her father. And there's never been an issue because should not even be an issue. This is a flat out lie. Anyway, so the daughter, the girlfriend of the son, basically convinced the father, her father, my friend's father, that she had been doing these notorious things and that she needed to be moved out right away. They gave her 1 hour. 1 hour. Pack all your stuff and get out. Right out to the curb. Nowhere to go. They didn't care. Didn't care. And then as the hour was approaching, the little girlfriend of the son comes over with a garbage bag and goes, "Put everything else in here you're not taking." Really? I can't tell you where I would go with that, but it wouldn't have been so nice. So yeah, so when I got that phone call, you guys, I immediately knew I had to help my friend because this is just not right. First thing we get to call is the adult services worker because she is disabled. She's been in this program to have people help with things for her around her home and things like that because of her disability. It makes it hard for her to get around. So she contacted them, went in, and they were a little help. They were able to get her some food assistance for a whole whopping $24 for the month. No joke. Not a joke. That's real. And that was about all they could really help her with. Other than let her know she couldn't have anybody work for her until she has a permanent address. Make sure you don't have anybody working for you because you don't have a permanent address now. Like scolding her. I don't know. Anyway, so they did tell her, though, that she could go to the local Motel 6 here in town, which is not considered a very nice place to stay by any means. But they told her, yeah, you could stay there for up to 30 days, and they give you a little bit of a discount, so it's more affordable, right? Yeah, right. $1,200 for 30 days at the Motel 6. That's not a kitchenette. That's just a room with a bed and toilet, you know? I'm like, I couldn't even believe that. $1,200. So on a fixed Social Security disability income, that's just not even fathomable. I mean, it's not going to work. So no other help was provided there except when she does find a place, they said she can call and let them know what her rent is, and then they can adjust the food assistance later on. So I guess if she's paying more bills, then they'll offer her more food, which I guess will be better, but in the meantime, it's $24. Okay, so the next thing we did was we called legal help. Because she was unlawfully evicted, which she didn't know when her son's girlfriend gave her that 1 hour to pack. She didn't know her rights. And I didn't know this either. Now I'm learning a lot. But yeah, she didn't know her rights. And so when they evicted her, they didn't go through any legal process. Like I said, they just basically said, you did something wrong. You're a problem. You need to leave now. And gave her 1 hour. What do you even take from your entire life in 1 hour that's gonna fit in your car? Are you kidding me? This is her family home. Her family home. And her dad and her son did nothing but allow this to happen to her. So legal aid assistance, or it's legal how it's just got a specific name. I can't remember. We've been to a lot of 3 and 4 letter agencies lately. But yeah, so it's been a few days. They still haven't called her back. So I told her we're just going to have to get a little bit more persistent on that and keep calling, because something has got to be done with this. In the meantime, like I said, we've been to every 3-letter, 4-letter agency in the entire county trying to figure things out. She was told to go to the homeless shelter as her only option. Being female, alone, disabled with mobility issues, no effing way. No way. No offense against the homeless, but with all the rampant drug use, needles all over, outside the place in the gutter, and no. Oh, and then the mentally ill person running around the parking lot with a knife in his hand. I don't think so. Not a safe place for anybody of sane mind. And anyway, sorry, I'm not trying to, cap on homeless people at all. I understand everybody has issues, but this is not a safe place for a 50-something-year-old woman with mobility disabilities. So she was in fear, and I can't blame her. I would not have stayed there. She'd rather, better off sleeping in her car on the street than there. So my stepdaughter, she's been out of school for the summer, and she's pretty much just been off with her sister all summer. I don't even think, gosh, it's been like 6 weeks since she's even been home. But, she's with her mom and her sister, so she's not off just running around or anything like that. She's only 13. But, she's not been here. So my husband, being the wonderful man, I'm so blessed. He's such a wonderful man. And he told me to have her come and stay with us, at least for a week or two, so we can try and help her out and figure out what and where she can go, or what available things are out there for her. And oh yeah, did I mention also, like, this whole last week or more, it's been over 100 degrees outside? Just to top it all off. So one of the biggest disappointments out there is that even though she is older and disabled, there are no other accommodations for people in her situation. There used to be a housing program that so many people have used, and I'm sure it's I think it's a federal program, the HUD, Housing Urban Development or whatever program. And but thanks to our crap excuse of a governor here in California, Governor Newsom, not Newsom, Newscum, and his corporate abuse, misappropriation of funds, now there's nothing for people like my friend who are in need. Yeah, all while he sits in his $9 million home. I'm sure that's not his only home. Okay, I'm not going to go in there anymore. Okay, moving on. But yeah, so I just want to say one more thing though. If Newsom does make it to the presidential ballot, and you even have an inkling thought of voting for the man, call anyone in California, and ask them if it's a good choice or not. You'll get a nice response. Anyway, the people who have been out there at these agencies, though, have been helpful as much as they can. They've been very understanding and very kind, so that has been nice. But even then, there are some of the workers out there who are pretty incompetent and just there for a paycheck. I mean, one lady yesterday, and I won't say which agency we were at because it doesn't need to be mentioned, but She basically told us that she couldn't answer most of our questions because she was supposed to be taking this training, but she didn't want to take it because she didn't really feel like it, so she couldn't really help us much. I don't know about you, but wow, I'm sure a lot of people would like that job and actually want to go to the training and actually want to help people, but I digress. So guys, this is where we are. Their low-income housing out here is on a 2 to 3 year waiting list for most places, but we're going to be putting in her application to every single one of them anyway. I can't imagine going through this in her shoes, especially on your own, trying to figure everything out, and it just, the emotions alone. I don't even know how she's doing it. You know, your family, your own family, allowed an outsider to come into your home and kick you out of your lifelong family home. She's such a trooper, guys. I don't know how she's being so strong. The other day, her son called her, and you know what he did? He had the gall to ask her for money. As soon as she got off that phone, I said, we're changing your phone number. We're not going to have this crap happening anymore. She doesn't need the BS, you know, pulling at her heartstrings and her feelers. I said, remember what they did to you. They threw you to the street with nothing and had no care in the world. Do not give them any money. She promised she won't. So, yeah, that's good. Because, man, I wanted to take that phone out of her hands so bad. But in the back of my head, I hear my husband's words. Don't engage with the family. It's not your fight. All you can do is be her friend. But I can really get real hot-tempered and do a big bitch, if you know what I mean, when I'm provoked. And I really can't afford any jail time, so, you know, I'm gonna just try and play it safe and listen to my husband. He's a very smart guy. So you guys, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an adult advocate. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just a friend trying to help a friend who's in need. And if you have ever had to deal with this, if you have any advice, any agencies you can think of that maybe we haven't tried, you know, the social service bottleneck is just like got us. I don't even know where to turn next. And, you know, any help would be greatly appreciated. Excuse me. Yeah, we're looking pretty much for any advice. Anyway, you guys, this bureaucratic red tape is ridiculous. I hope that this country can get itself together a little bit better. I know some things have gotten better in the last couple years, but some things have also fallen through the cracks, and it looks like this is something that's just falling through the cracks because of all the corruption and the funds being abused, and people, the real people out here are suffering because of that. So yes, please leave a comment down below. I really appreciate you guys. Also, don't forget about SKOOL Common Sense with Kevin and Michelle. Great coaches for YouTube if you guys are interested. Thank you so much for being here today, y'all. And hopefully we have some better progress for the next video to bring an update of good news. Anyway, have a great day. We'll see you in the next video.